out of your time in the week content creating, 60% of that time, TikTok. Make TikTok videos, edit TikTok videos, schedule those TikTok drafts. And I would say just kind of park them in your drafts. Don't post anything until you get like 15 videos in your drafts, because then you can post once a day and you
Okay.
will still have those videos in your drafts. You don't want to lose that like once a day posting cadence. Now, 2 weeks later, you posted once a day for 2 weeks. Look at your own content. Which videos, what are your top three videos and what are your worst three videos and why? Um, Notice any similarities or differences? Like, are your top three videos all less than like 15 seconds long? Are your worst three videos all like 50 seconds long? Is the like, what do you do? Do you have an intro sticker? Do you have like, what style of video is it? Was it like a funny video? Was it a Twitch clip? Was it a POV video? Analyze why you think the three videos did the best, why you think the three videos did the worst. Stop doing whatever you think didn't work. And whatever three videos did the best, recreate those videos and make more of it. So we're just gonna double down on TikTok and just literally just keep that cycle up every single week. Just look back at your content. What did well? What didn't do well? Toss out what didn't do well. Keep doing what did well. And data never lies. So
This is Kat. 450,000 on TikTok, 42,000 on Twitch, and 12,000 on YouTube. And for the last 2 years, she's been creating content around the streaming education ecosystem. Her advice is honest, accurate, and super value if you're a small to medium-sized streamer looking to grow. Her knowledge led us to talk to many things on the podcast, including how to grow on TikTok. She shares her own content workflow from idea to posting. And we talked a lot about sponsorships as well, because she's just released a new kind of guide on how to kind of get sponsors and work with sponsors, which people will find super value. I'll link that down below. But yeah, some really good conversations in here. She's very knowledgeable and she's been streaming for 3 or 4 years now. And so her advice is solid. If you enjoy the episode, then please consider hitting the like and subscribe button down below. If you don't, then I'd love to hear why in the comments. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. Kat, welcome to the Behind the Stream podcast. The first streaming educator that I have on. I've been really excited and looking forward to this conversation, just to like just pick your brains on loads of the stuff that I've seen you say across your socials.
yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited to be on this.
What have you been doing today? How's your day been?
No, my day's been good. I got some much needed sleep and then I did some work. I went to the gym and then we got boba. Of course, you have to have boba. So
What
I feel a
flavor?
little bit
What
ready to
flavor
go.
is it?
It's a jasmine milk tea.
I don't think I've ever had one of those before.
It's like a green tea.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more of like a little bit more of a tea flavor rather than like just sugar and like sweetness. It's a little bit more like on the bitter side, but it's good.
Okay, nice. I'm keen to get straight into it.
Mhm.
Let's if you could just like tell me like who you are, what you currently stream, like what got you into streaming, almost like a story slash journey of like where you started, why you started, and then how that's always really good to hear how that's evolved to then what you do today, and yeah, like how did you get where you are today?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Well, I mean, first and foremost, my name is Kat, and I currently stream mainly just chatting, although I do play games here and there. I have a soft spot for Riot games like League and Valorant,
Nice.
unfortunately. But I started streaming because my ex was a streamer back in the day. And he was like, "Oh, you look like an ABG, so you should stream." And I didn't know anything about Twitch, so all I knew was Tyler One and Pokimane. So I was like, "Okay, what is this Twitch thing you're talking about?" And fun fact, Tyler One was my first, like the first streamer I ever followed. But I started streaming on Twitch and I had no idea what the hell was happening. I was like, okay, I'm like live. And then my first stream, I streamed one league game and I was so scared. I like immediately quit the stream afterwards and I was like on the brink of tears because I was terrified. And I was using my phone as a webcam. I didn't even have a webcam. So I later like he coaxed me back into streaming again. So 2 months later, I like actually started streaming in December. This was like 2018. And I really like streaming. I was streaming mainly League, and we eventually broke up. And so I quit streaming because of it. But I still really like streaming. So a couple months later, I got back into it, whatever. And then I was like on off streaming for about a year. So COVID hit at this point. Now it's like 2019. And wait, no, the timeline doesn't match up. No, it was 2020. COVID hits 2020.
Yeah.
So I was at home and I was bored and I was like, I hate school because I was in college at the time.
Okay.
And I was like, I wanna like restart streaming. So I started using TikTok and I made a lot of League friends on TikTok. And then so I got back into streaming League and I kind of was like, I'm still not growing. Like I don't understand. And I had the big misconception that all I needed to do was be like an attractive looking female to grow on Twitch. That was literally what I thought because I didn't know any better. And my ex at the time, that's what he told me. So I just took it face value, not questioning that sounds completely wrong. And so I did some research and I was like, oh, wait, hold on. You mean I actually need to talk to chat? And if my league wasn't a PowerPoint slide when I was playing, that might be better too. So I realized that I needed to fix some things. And I just kind of like fell into streaming advice because there was a lot of things that I didn't know about streaming that once I realized it, it just felt like the pieces fell into place that I started growing. And I was like that means if I didn't know this, that means a lot of other people didn't know this as well. So I just wanted to be able to educate and help people to go and just not struggle as badly as I did. So that's kind of how I fell into doing streaming advice.
So how did you like? I didn't. Yeah. So how did you go from the gaming to the streaming advice? Like
Mhm.
what was like? Yeah. Did you just start creating? Is that when you started creating TikToks on streaming advice? And like what was sort of stuff was it?
Yeah, I can elaborate a little bit more on that. So when I first started TikTok, I was already posting once a day, but I was doing League of Legends skits.
Yeah. Okay.
So if anybody wants to stalk it, like if you go straight down my page, there is just like about 300 videos of League of Legends skits. So it was one of those. And I made one. People kept asking me like, "How did you start growing on Twitch?" Because at the time there was a trend where it was like, you would make a video showing your Twitch stats. So I'm like, I have 500 followers,
Mhm.
I have 6 average viewers, da 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 da. And then the next month, like it was a trend to duet it every single month. So the next month I duetted it, and I was at like 1,200 followers, and I was averaging 12 viewers. And people were like, "Hold up, wait, how did you make that jump?" So I was getting a bunch of comments being like, "Hey, like, how did you grow? Like, teach me, teach me." So I made a video about advice, and that video flopped. So I was like, okay, fuck it, whatever. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna make that video because it flopped. Continued to do making those duet videos, and then I was growing by like 10, 15 average viewers every month. So the next month, and like 2 months later, people kept commenting, being like, how did you grow? Like now you went from like 6 to like 30 average viewers in 4 months. Like, how did you do this? So I made another advice video that also flopped. But then one of my so like somebody on my For You page, I think it might have been one of my friends, but I don't remember now. They made a video about their streaming career. So I was like, let me make a video about my streaming career. So what I had just said about, like being with a toxic ex that got me into streaming, but gave me an ultimatum and told me it's either him or streaming, which is why I quit. So I made a video, like a POV style video about my journey. And that video blew up. It was like my biggest video to date. It was at like 250,000 views at the time. So I was like, okay, so people actually do like the streaming stuff. So let me go make another streaming video. But then I made a education video instead of like a POV video,
Yeah.
and that video also did really well. So I was maybe averaging like 8,000 views at the time,
Okay.
and then that video got like 50K. So I was like, I'm gonna make another one, and the other one also blew up. So I was like, yo, this is working. Like I'm gonna roll with it. Somehow, like I changed the style of it a little bit, and I guess that hit better. But those videos at that point consistently kept doing well. So I was like, I'm gonna fucking roll with it. Like fuck the league skits, like the league skits. I'm just gonna do only streaming advice from now on. And I blew up off of it basically.
And how did that then um translate into your stream? Like, did you then were you continuing to game, or you when did you then start like doing, I don't know, the just chatting or streaming education
Mhm.
within your stream?
Yeah, so I started making a lot of stream advice videos in November, but I was still streaming League. And so this tied it over to December. December was my like biggest month. I went from 8,000 followers December 2020 to 40,000 because in December I started posting 3 times a day and every single video was streaming advice. But I was still streaming League. And so at the end of December, I was like, okay, my TikTok is blowing up. I'm still gaining the same average viewers per month though on
Hmm.
Twitch. So this doesn't really make any sense because I gained 40,000 people on TikTok. So at least I should be gaining a little bit more on Twitch than what I have been gaining. Because prior to that, I was gaining maybe 1,000 followers per month. So then I was like, okay, since all these people are following me for streaming advice, I don't know why it didn't occur to me earlier. I was like, let me just do streaming advice on my Twitch account as well.
Yeah.
So I would just alternate. So I would start stream with what was it? I think I would start streaming League and then I was doing like 5 hour streams. So I would start the first half with like, oh no, I would start the first half with just chatting and then play League in the second half. And so I was still doing like half half, but it was a lot of just chatting. It debated a lot of people into my stream. And I was chilling and vibing. And then I was at maybe like 50, 60 average viewers. And then January 15th. So this is 2021. January 15th, oh shit, is it 2021? It is 2021. But yeah, January 15th, I blew up. Like I literally went from 50, there was like 120 people when I started stream. And like the stream prior, the day before, I was averaging 50. So and like I have the viewer count off, so I didn't know. But all of a sudden, like I started stream and chat just flooded. There you could tell because I was like, my chat does not pop off like this. And it
Yeah.
flooded. So I was like, fuck League. Like, let me just talk to everybody because I'm extroverted. I love talking. It took me like 2.5 hours to catch up with chat because there were so many messages. And I was talking really fast. So I was like, and then at some point, somebody in my stream was like, there's like 160 people in here or something like that. And I have a clip of me freaking the fuck out because I had literally averaged like 50 people the day prior. I was like, where the fuck are all of you guys coming from? And then from TikTok. So after that day, I strictly, like, I literally stopped gaming. Like, I literally was only streaming, just chatting after that day because it fucking blew up.
Do you think that you were like putting off people that were coming in because your TikTok was blowing up? Then you weren't currently doing the streaming advice on stream. Then people were just seeing you playing
Yeah.
League or Valorant or whatever. People were just I don't know, they're not staying, right? I guess.
Mhm. I mean, the biggest advice, or one of like a big advice that I always tell people, I'm like, in order to get the conversion from people on your largest platform over to Twitch, whatever your largest platform may be, the content needs to be the same. Because I
Yeah,
blew up off of
yeah,
streaming advice, but I was streaming League. So
yeah.
no one, like, some people who wanted my streaming advice also played League, but
Hmm.
not that many. Like, people didn't give a fuck about League. They cared about the streaming advice. So because I was not streaming that type of content, no one came over. But the moment I swapped to actually doing streaming advice content on Twitch, everyone who followed me for that on TikTok was like, it only makes sense that I get lifetime advice by coming into her Twitch stream. So that's how
Yeah.
all of a sudden like everyone came through.
And so then how did that then? How many times are you streaming at the moment? Like at this point,
Ooh, at
a
that time
week,
it
a
was
week.
actually it was really rough. I was streaming what was it? 5 days a week for 4 to 5 hours per stream.
Shit,
But I was
that's a
also a
lot.
full-time student. And I was graduate like when that was happening, I was graduating that semester. Because I decided to graduate from Berkeley in 3 years instead of four because I was like, fuck this shit, I'm gonna be a streamer. Like I don't want to go medicine anymore. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm done. So like it was really brutal. It was really rough, but it worked out.
So what do you do now? Sorry, like
Oh,
what?
like now I
Yeah.
am a full-time streamer, but I also have a full-time job as a social content producer for Dignitas.
Okay. So you're streaming. You also stream 5 days a week now.
No, I cut back my hours greatly. So I stream 3 days a week and I stream for about 4 hours per stream.
Why did you cut your hours? Why did you cut them to three?
There was a lot of things that went into it. The big one though was I kept losing my voice. I had a really big problem where I was constantly losing my voice because of streaming. And it's because like I get really excited, so I start yelling, and it was really straining on my voice. So every single stream, at the end of my stream, my throat would hurt. Like, and it would hurt midstream. So like 2 hours into my stream, my throat would already start hurting from just straining my voice constantly. And I completely lost my voice for 3 months. This was in 2021. So I literally like could not talk. My voice was really hoarse. And it was honestly like really sad for me because, well, I mean, like as a content creator, like you want to make sure you feel like yourself. And I didn't feel like myself because I
Okay.
didn't sound like myself. And I was constantly hearing myself in my content. And I was like, dude, I don't sound like this. I'm like, because my voice kept breaking because I strained it so much. So I kept cutting back the hours because of it. And then another thing too was also I realized that which isn't my end game, which like a lot of people always like their goal is to become a Twitch streamer. And my goal is to not be a Twitch streamer or a full-time streamer. Like I don't think it's like a good end goal because
Yeah.
it makes you very reliant on just being on all the time. I would prefer to work in my own free time. Like if you wake up and you're not feeling it that day, like or you're not feeling it for a week, like you're just having a bad mental health week, you just take the whole week off. But if you're a streamer, even though you can do that, if your finances are heavily tied into streaming and being on camera, like on those specific days, how are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to keep the lights on in your house? So
Yeah.
I basically realized that my end goals were not to be a full-time streamer, was to be like a full-time content creator on more evergreen platforms like YouTube and TikTok. So I like funneled more time into those channels and less on Twitch.
So yeah, I agree. I think
Mhm.
I both share the same opinion on like the diversification of just time and
Mhm.
revenue. How do you um like plan your content for stream then? I've noticed that you take a lot of like what you say on stream and put it into like your YouTube videos.
Mhm.
Does that do you plan that? Like, do you, because I know there's this whole thing around like what Ludwig does and planning your stream content, taking that into YouTube. I'm wondering, like, is that what you do, or is it more you kind of have a few topics you're going to talk about them because you know lots about them and that's what you clip up? I'm just wondering, yeah, like how much of planning goes into each stream now that's
It's
just chatting.
very little planning actually.
Very little
I
planning.
just open up my stream and I'm like, let's ball.
Yeah,
But basically I kind of plan where I'm like, all right, so I stream 3 days a week and Saturdays is always stream reviews. So I know that's always like content I could pull between the other 2 days that I stream. Sometimes I'm like, I just want to game.
yeah, yeah,
I just don't want to do education content. I just want to game. So sometimes I'm gaming, but most of the time when I start stream, I'm like, okay, so here is the topic that I would like to cover, and I will just ask chats for questions. So sometimes I come in and I'm like, hey, I made a new sponsorship guide. I'm going to talk about sponsorships today. So that's one. Another one is like, ask me questions about like any streaming advice, like anything Twitch related, I'll answer. Another one, I do digital art on the side. So if
yeah,
you have questions about starting an Etsy shop, that will be the topic for today. But I basically pull up and I sometimes have a tutorial planned where I'm like, I will walk you through how to make an overlay in Photoshop. I will walk you through how to do this. Like I have sometimes have like plans tutorial walkthroughs, but a lot of the days it's just kind of here's a topic and then let me ask chat, all right guys, give me your streaming questions, and then chat is really good at giving questions. So I will look like whatever people are dropping in chat, I if I find a good question that I can answer for a good amount of time, then I will bam, like I answer everything, but the ones that I know I could easily edit into a TikTok video or YouTube, I will answer their question and I will just kind of ignore chat when I'm answering their question,
yeah,
which is counterintuitive to the advice that I give as a strategy to
yeah,
growing, but it's I would say that I'm in a different place now because I've already got partner, which is what I wanted. So at this point, my Twitch is just to farm content. I'm not actively trying to grow my Twitch. So
yeah,
I will just literally answer the question, ignore chat for the 8 minutes I'm answering the question,
yeah,
and then add a stream marker and just be like, I'll in the stream marker I use a description, so I just answer the topic like mic recommendations or OBS tips or something, and then at the end of my stream I will go back into looking at my VOD. I will look at every single stream marker and I'll highlight out the chunks that I want to download all the highlights, and then edit from there.
nice. I
So
did
it's like a whole streamlined process.
I did think that I did think when I watched them, like I can see that chat's there, and I'm like, I can tell that there's not any, there's no clipping in it as well. So I'm like, I know that you are just having to just ignore chat
Mhm.
for 5 to 10 minutes, which I know is not what, yeah, like you said, not what you
Yeah,
advise. But I know that when you're creating content like that, you can't, it's very, I've done it before, and I'll stop and I'll just lose my chain of thought. Like, and
exactly.
I was actually like flowing with a sick answer then. And then I'm just
Mhm.
like, someone is like deliberately trying to disrupt me. And I'm like, come on, you could see that I'm like giving an answer here. Like,
Mhm.
just let me breathe for a minute.
And the biggest thing is like editing too, because to go back and then edit out like 20
Oh,
different segments where you talk to chat is, it not only is painful to edit, but it makes the video flow badly. So that's why I just ignore chat and I will just answer the question so that the video for YouTube will flow nicer.
yeah, yeah, I understand. So
Mhm.
that's interesting. So like your like Twitch, the viewers, they're all, I would say all streamers, but like,
Mhm.
what are they? Mainly predominantly small streamers, new people
Yeah.
coming in from your TikTok. Like, I've got a
Mhm.
question, like, how many people are like people like OGs that just maybe wanted to be a streamer, not really streamers anymore, but now just sit and watch you because they just enjoy watching you? Like, what's the like mix of your audience?
It's a good mix actually. A huge chunk, majority of my audience are streamers. Like anybody
Yeah,
who
yeah.
comes into my stream, I assume they're a streamer.
Hmm.
Like without a doubt, because otherwise like why are you watching my content? Like maybe for me, appreciate it.
Yeah.
But typically it's because they're streamers and they want advice. So I already out the gate assume that. A lot of them are actually artists too. A good chunk of my audience are
Okay.
artists because I do art. So they are looking for some art tutorials, stuff like that. That's a huge chunk. Another chunk of my audience, like you said, are the OGs. So I would say maybe like 80% of people are streamers. And then out of that mix, a lot of them are artists within the streamer bunch. And then about 10% are like OGs, the people who watched me when I was playing League and
Okay.
they just stuck around. So that
Nice.
special place in my heart for them because you stuck around through the League phase. That was an interesting one. And then I would say like about 10% are just kind of like people that cycle through from my TikTok live where they were in my TikTok live, they pulled up to my stream, they like said hi, they asked their questions, and then that's that. And I completely understand it because I'm here to give advice. So once you got your answer, like
Yeah.
go do whatever, go forth with the answer and do as you please.
How are you planning your like TikTok content then? Because you do, it's lots of like, I guess, Q&As, like answering
Mhm.
stuff, how to do how to's, like OBS stuff, graphic stuff, growth stuff, like all sorts. Like what is it? How do you plan all that? Like where do your ideas come from for that, or inspiration? I know that you use Notion, which is like, well, I preach it to everyone, but no one
Yeah,
listens.
Notion's
No
amazing.
one listens to me. So when I know that find someone that also uses it, I'm like, oh, they
Mhm.
get it, they get it. So yeah, how does like your idea, like, can you talk through like your workflow, like idea workflow process from ideas to then output?
Yeah, it's actually really messy. People always like to look at me and they're like, "Oh yeah, she must be really put together and streamlined." I'm like, keep thinking that. It's better to be ignorant because my workflow is actually pretty messy. Because I have ADHD, so I like to think of it as like a superpower. In content creation, it's also crippling at times, but it's okay. But a lot of times, like when during the day, I'm just like, this will be a very good idea for content. So I'm like,
Okay.
all right, I wish I did this in Notion, but I started doing this before I realized Notion was a thing, and it was a little bit too late. Actually, I can do this now. Basically, I have a notes app, a notes page in my notes app where it just has all my TikTok ideas. It is fucking massive. And then my phone got stolen. So all 500 ideas are gone. So I should have just fucking put it in the Notion board, but I didn't because I didn't know Notion was a thing when I made that page. But normally, whenever I have a TikTok idea during the day, but it's not a good opportunity to film, I go into my notes app, which for everyone watching, please just use Notion so your phone doesn't get stolen and you lose everything. But I put my idea down in a giant list, and I'll just let it sit there. And then during the nighttime, when my makeup is done, the lighting is good. I always film after I'm done streaming because the lighting is the best in my room when my room is dark.
Yeah, yeah,
So right
same.
now, because the sun's coming through the window, it's a little bit bright. You can't really see my lights on,
Mhm.
but I will sit down after everything my stream is done, and then I will just film content. So the way I come up with content ideas, a couple of different things. One, somebody asked a really good question on Twitch on stream that day, and I'm like, this is a really good opportunity to make a TikTok video. Maybe on stream, I might have answered it in like one, two sentences. It was a really quick answer,
Mhm.
but quick means good for TikTok. So that's a TikTok idea right there.
Yeah.
Two, the ideas that I came up with during the day, just through random inspiration. Three, whomever asked questions in my TikTok comment section, because I always like to say the best
Okay.
place to get ideas is from your community. If they're asking you questions, that means not only them, but probably a lot of other people had this exact same question they wanted answers for. So I purged my TikTok comment section. And then four, I will look through my TikTok videos by like last 2 weeks of videos, be like, which videos did well? And then I'm like, okay, this React video that I did to BoxBox did well. This video where I was explaining about like longevity or whatever, that one did well. And this style of video did well. Okay, Pog. I'm gonna take these 3 videos and try to remake them. That's another way I get ideas. The fifth one is just trends that come up on the For You page. Because sometimes I'll scroll down the For You page and I'll be like, okay, here's a trend. Like it. How can I make it Twitch streaming related? If I can't, then like whatever. Okay, move on to the next one. And then also scrolling my For You page, just even seeing other videos. I'm like, how can I twist this video into streaming? Sometimes I see a lot of people do like what I spent in a day in the life, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, like how can I twist this into streaming? Maybe like how much did I spend in a day as a Twitch streamer or stuff like that. So always like looking at content and being like, how can I fit this into Twitch streaming? How can I fit this to fit my content? And how can I put my twist on it? And a lot of times also the sixth way is I recycled old content ideas. I'm kind of like, well, I haven't made an OBS tip video in a while, so let me
Yeah.
just go make one because it's been a hot minute. And so those are like off the top of my head the six ways that I come up
Yeah.
with content ideas. And I batch film everything in one sitting. So I only feel like I'm almost like, if you can see my TikToks, I'm basically wearing the same outfit for like 10 videos in a row. It's because I just batch film all my content.
When you batch, but how many is batching?
Anywhere from like three, I've batched up to like 20 in one sitting once.
Okay, nice. And that's just if
Mhm.
like if you've got all the ideas to go and they're all
Yeah.
developed, you know what you're doing. You're just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna just do all of them here.
Yeah, it's like this. Like a lot of times too. Like once I get one idea, it just snowballs. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, this person had this question about sponsorships. Let me answer it. I'm like, oh my god, wait, this actually ties into another topic that people are curious about. Let me answer that. And then I'm like, right. And then like people are probably curious about this, and it just bridges on. And like another like a big thing that I always say to people is like, if you have some inspiration, you feel like inspired to do something, just capitalize on it, do it right then and there. Just drop everything, film,
yeah,
you can worry about other stuff later. Because
yeah, yeah,
when you are not inspired to make content, but you're out of content, so you need to make shit,
yeah.
it's like the worst. It's like you just can't get anything to happen.
That's so true. Yeah, I've never thought of it like that, but like I get
Mhm.
sometimes I have an idea and it's super inspiring, but I'm not at my desk or in front of my camera and I write it down and then later on I go to then film it and I'm like, I don't want to. I
Mhm.
literally don't, I can't be asked. But then I remember in that moment, I was like, fucking hell, this is such a good idea. Oh my God, this is gonna make a great
Yeah.
video. And then do you ever get that when do you ever like plan to start filming and you just can't be fucked? Like where you just really don't want to.
Yeah. I've had those times where, especially because my phone was recently stolen, my 67 TikTok drafts were also gone with my phone, which was heartbreaking. But so it was like when I came back from the festival that I went to, my phone was stolen. I was also sick, but I needed content because
Yeah,
my account was like in the shitter because I posted 3 times a day for like a year and a half. I lost all that traction because my phone was stolen. And then when I was at the fest, I had already scheduled out content because you can schedule content on the desktop version of TikTok.
yeah,
I
yeah,
scheduled out one post a day. And then for some reason, a video from March was flagged for sale of illegal goods. I was like promoting my fucking Etsy shop. So it got taken down. I had too many account restrictions on my account from getting banned off TikTok Live way too many times. So it put a posting halt on my account. So I literally posted like nothing for 4 days or some shit because of things out of my control. So then I came home, I was sick, and I was like, I need to make content. So I was sitting here like
it's
miserable and
like
blowing my
stressing you
nose all
out.
the
Yeah,
time. Yeah, and I was like, I needed to make content, but I cannot for the life of me just be inspired to make anything because like, I'm sick and I'm just feeling miserable. But I just sat there and I was like, okay, what's like the quickest shit I can come up with? And whatever came to mind, even if I wasn't feeling it, I just filmed it because I had no choice. So some of those videos were a little bit questionable, but they at least got okay views. So
yeah. So are you now going back to three times a day?
yeah, yeah, we're getting back into things again. So
How
slowly making it work.
how do you plan to do 3 times a day? Like how um you said you batch or like you come up with your ideas.
Mhm.
Like how do you specifically then plan three for say like for next week, right? Like for next
Mhm.
week you've got you that's 21 posts technically. Like
Mhm.
how are you like creating those ideas and bucketing them into days and then deciding they're all going to go out? I'm curious, like, are you building them all this week to go out next week, or some on the day, some the day before? Like, I just yeah, with that volume of posting, I'm curious of like how you actually manage that like consistently because clearly you can.
Yeah, there's not that much science behind it. So typically what happens is at the end of every Twitch stream, like I mentioned,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like have all these stream markers. So then I go through and before I edit anything into YouTube videos, I will look for the highlights that are TikTok videos. So some highlights that I know were only short. It took me a minute to answer. TikTok videos. I will just edit all of those TikTok videos in that one sitting and then I schedule them out. So if people watch my content, they probably notice that like typically the edited videos there won't be two edited videos that go out in one day unless it's like a sponsored piece. So when those like videos I edit with my camera up above,
yeah.
etc., that goes like however many. Let's say in that sitting after I'm done streaming, I edited 4. I'll just schedule them out 1, 2, 3, 4 on the next day. So the next day is the first one, and then up until I run out of content. So that will be my first post of the day. Then if I filmed any trends, I push the trends out as quickly as possible.
Hmm.
So because it's a very time sensitive thing. So I'm like, okay, if this trend is needed today, or like if this trend like popped off yesterday, I'm gonna post it today. So sometimes I will post like 2 trend videos in a day as well, if it was just necessary to the timeline. But I typically try to space it out like 1 trend video a day. The last one that I post is the time doesn't matter thing, where it's just like an educational piece, like an OBS tip video.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
could go out like today, that could go out 2 months from now, and it would probably do the same, close
yeah.
enough. So those ones are kind of like
Okay.
all in the backlog, and those aren't really time sensitive.
Yeah.
But I do take into account if I had a previous video on the same topic that blew up. So I had a video that I made talking about how much I made in September, and that one like did really well.
Yeah.
So I looked through, I was like, all my sponsorship related content, I just like moved to the forefront. So I just started posting more of my pre-filmed sponsorship
Okay.
type content. If any like OBS tip video or whatever goes to the back burner, because I want it to be relevant to the video that blew up, because that meant that I got more followers that were interested in that one topic. So I should go and give them the content they're interested in.
Okay. Oh,
Mhm.
nice. Yeah, that okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I was actually was that was lead kind of leading on to like what I was going to ask in terms of where have you found like to have the most success in your different, because you've got like an array of different styles of TikTok, and just wondering like what has there been certain things that have consistently worked, or is it all just still quite random? Like,
Oh no, there has been. Well, up until I guess like 2 days ago, because that video flopped. But I also do news content.
okay,
So anytime there, but specifically Twitch news.
yeah,
So every time there's Twitch drama, I
yeah,
will research it and cover it. It is the most tedious form of content that I produce on TikTok,
yeah,
because I'll literally stay up to like 3 a.m. in the morning watching like 2 different people's 4 hour VODs on 2 times speed to try to get as much content as possible to make an educated video.
hmm,
But those pretty much guarantee will pop off. Like each of those news style content is minimum like 100K per video, like guaranteed. With the exception of my most recent one about gambling, but I have a theory about Twitch throttling that. But typically those ones always do really well. Like the big advice that I also like to give people is just, if you find a content idea that does well, like beat that shit to death,
yeah,
because that's the algorithm favoring you. Go with it, right? So I made a news video and it blew up. So then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make more. So whenever the next big news happened, I made another video. The problem with also the news video is it is very time sensitive. So
yeah,
the moment a news thing happens, a big topic happens, I literally drop everything
hmm,
and I just
yeah,
research,
yeah,
edit, and film, and I get it out within the same hour. But it's tedious.
yeah. You got to be quick on those ones, haven't you?
Hmm.
Because then tons of other
Oh yeah.
people are creating them as well.
Hmm.
What do you enjoy creating the most?
I really actually enjoy creating videos that are talking about finances. I'm really passionate about financial transparency
Yeah,
and educating people on that regard. That's something that I'm like super passionate about,
yeah,
especially because like companies always take advantage of creators,
oh
and
yeah.
it sucks. And I also really like making art tutorials. I haven't made that many recently because I got sad after I got flamed about one of my tutorials, but we're slowly making more.
In terms of the, let's talk about the finance stuff then,
Mhm.
because I know you've recently released like a sponsorship guide. So I'd love to
Mhm.
talk about that. Like, what's what inspired you to create the sponsorship guide? Like, what is in the sponsorship guide? Like, who does it help, and how does it help them?
I can give you a very long-winded story. The reason
Go
I
on,
got
that's
into
okay.
making guides, not necessarily sponsorship guides. There was somebody on TikTok that I was beefing with because this creator stole my videos and other Twitch advice videos and would recreate their videos verbatim, stealing our gestures. Every single word was verbatim. Even the gestures, the mannerisms were even stolen. It was legitimately copy and paste, and it was disgusting. So this person then was selling ebooks and e-courses on how to grow on TikTok. Their PDF was $50. They had a course for like
Shit.
$350. And they were flexing that they managed to grow their account from zero to however many, like tens of thousands of followers in 1 month, which was again completely built off of stolen content. So out of spite, also that bro was like a grown ass man. I was like, what, like 19 when this happened or something. But out of spite, I stayed up all night and I made a TikTok PDF guide and I made it free. because I was just like, go fuck yourself. Here is the free version. I'm not letting people pay you, you scammer, for stolen content. I'm just gonna put it all in a free guide. So that's kind of how I got started making guides, like
Yeah.
literally out of spite, because I was like, fuck you guys. So then I started making more guides because people thought they were really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I rolled out a TikTok guide for this year. And then everyone's always been like, how do I get I get so many questions about sponsorships all the time.
Hmm.
And I love answering them because again, that's something I'm really passionate about. It ties into the finances. But then I'm like, I've been getting the same questions for a very long time. So I'm like, why don't I just make a free PDF guide so that this is just kind of like a one-stop shop. If people want to learn about sponsorships, they can just read this guide and get all the info that they want. So the guide, I tried to make it as thorough as possible. I might have missed some things because I'm obviously biased. It was written from my POV. So
Yeah. Yeah.
when I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I got everything. But it's based off what I know. But it literally goes into what I think is everything that you should know as a content creator about sponsorships. Um, I could maybe go a little bit more in depth into some of the other topics that I covered on there, but I start with like defining terms that I thought people wouldn't maybe know, like even like sponsorship, affiliate sponsorship,
Hmm.
like exclusivity, what that would look like, whitelisting, all that stuff. And then I go into how did I format it? I think I started with the definitions, and then I started with how to like what type of sponsorships each sponsorship category is, how to get sponsorships, like where can you look for them, and then I go into how to email companies to get sponsorships, how to determine your rate for sponsorships, how to what do you call it? I think I mentioned a little. I didn't really go into depth because I already had like other tutorials, but I mentioned like keeping track of it in a Notion board. A very big fan of Notion. And
Nice.
then I talked about things that people should know, red flags and contracts that people should go and look out for, that companies would ask for. And then I talked about payment and receiving payment. So that's kind of like from A to Z, everything that I covered in my guide.
Why did you decide to make it free?
Because out of spite. Because when I was a broke college student who like couldn't really afford to even buy myself food, let alone these guides people were putting out, I was a little bit resentful of creators that would paywall their content
Hmm.
because from my point of view, I also understand their point of view. They're trying to make a living, and
Hmm.
selling digital products is a great way to make a living. And that's knowledge that they have gathered through their time. They put effort into making this course, and they should receive some compensation for it. So I understand that point of view. From my POV, as a broke like 18, 19-year-old college student who really, really wanted to make a career on Twitch, and there are people selling guides to it, but I couldn't afford the guide. It just felt like,
Yeah.
oh, here's this thing that could potentially make me more successful, but I can't get it because I'm broke. And that was like the worst feeling for me. It felt so bad just to know that if I just had more money, I could maybe access this advice that could make me a better content creator and make my dreams happen. So I don't want to paywall something that could help somebody achieve their dream. I just don't feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah. So would you ever make a paid guide?
People have asked me about this, and the answer is a maybe. The only way I would make a paid guide is if I had a way to make it affordable for people who couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
So an instance is like people have always asked me, "Are you going to make a course? Are you going to make a course?" And
Yeah.
the thing that I kind of like thought about regarding that is like because again, there's no way to be like, hey, show me your bank statement. And if you can't afford it, then you pay for it. But if you can't, then it's okay. But basically, like the only way I would make it happen is if maybe I would do like giveaways or something where if I have this guide and like if you purchased it within the first week, it's completely free. But then like if you're just a little bit slow, it's on you. What I did with the sponsorship guide was I did have like a paid option,
Hmm.
which was a video because I hate editing. So I'm like, if I made a 45-minute video, I should maybe get a little compensated for it. But the content is the same. It's literally the same content because I don't want to paywall content. It's just if you wanted a video version, same content. If you just wanted an audiobook version, then that's like a little bit more. But the content is the same. And I don't want to ever do a thing where content that could potentially help somebody was paywall
Yeah.
because they couldn't get it because they couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen your opinion on Ninja's content.
I have a bone to pick with what he's doing, but I have a separate theory of Ninja that he's just trying to stay relevant in whichever way possible, even if it involves being scummy. But
I'd love to know how much has he made off those course sales? Do you know?
I don't know. And I don't want to know, honestly, because
I
I'll
think
probably
it'd
be
be a lot.
horrified.
Yeah, I think
I will
so.
be horrified.
In terms of like you said you created content on your sponsorship videos, etc. Like, and you keen about like finances. Like, you don't have to go into details, but like, how do you how how is your income like split now? Like, I think it's always like really. I know people love hearing about like how
Mhm.
like what percentage of the money that they make comes from different things, and how you see that, or like is there like certain gaps that you feel like you need to fill in your income from different places to feel like you're more comfortable and sustainable doing XYZ?
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking down because I'm pulling out my calculator. I'm like really transparent with my finances.
That's
So
okay.
in the last 8 months for this year, so January to August, because I calculate my finances at the end of every month, and September hasn't ended yet.
Yeah.
Um, I made $30,000 from sponsorships out of a total of $68,000. This is not counting my full-time content, my full-time job. So I'm
Okay.
not counting that income because it's not related to content
Yeah, yeah,
creation.
sure, sure, sure.
So that sponsorships was 44% of my income. And then I made $10,000 from Twitch over the 8 months. So divided by 68,000 is 14.7% of my income
Yeah.
comes from Twitch. And then I have an Etsy shop where I sell digital goods and assets, and I made $20,700 from that, which accounts for 30.4% of my income.
Okay.
And the rest of it is like miscellaneous stuff. So I've made, I don't know, like $1,000 from my coffee shop just from people donating. And then I have YouTube. So I made a little bit over $1,000 off of YouTube ads in the
Okay.
8 months. Instagram reel bonuses, I've
Yeah.
made a little bit shy of $1,000 there over the 8 months. So all of that other like percentages I didn't account for is like miscellaneous stuff like
Yeah.
that. But sponsorships is by far my biggest chunk of income, with Etsy coming second. And I like the way that looks, but I wish YouTube was more. I'm like
Yeah. Yeah.
actively trying to grow my YouTube channel. I literally post like every other day.
I've seen you. I've seen
Mhm,
some of your tweets about growing YouTube. Like,
mhm.
like we can talk about that then. Like, how much? What do you think you need to do more of to grow your YouTube channel? Like, if you're not happy where it's at, because I think you're not, because I've seen some of your comments on it.
I'm not.
Yeah. So, like, what is it like? Do you feel you need to do more of? Is there somewhere where you think that like your content's not good enough, or like what do you think you need to happen for you? Like,
Mm. There's actually a bunch of things. First off, my thumbnails need to be better.
mhm.
I make all my thumbnails,
Yeah.
so it's like a me thing. But I definitely need to experiment more with my YouTube content, like I did with my TikTok to blow it up.
Hmm.
Because TikTok, I'm a huge advocate of just looking at data. Data never lies. So I'm a huge advocate. Look at your past videos. Whatever did well, make more. Whatever flopped, don't make it. Like the easy math.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
sounds simple, but it's
yeah,
not easy to execute. I need to do that with my YouTube, but just with time constraints, I just don't have that much time to analyze it
yeah,
like I have done with my TikTok. But a big one is the editing. I hate editing. I absolutely hate editing, and I edit almost all my videos. All my TikToks are edited by me. Almost all my YouTube videos are edited by me.
Why?
I have somebody that I'm trying to bring on
Yeah,
to be my
yeah, okay.
editor, that I'm trying to hire. He edits some of my videos, but he's Canadian, so I'm trying to figure out the legality of hiring him as a part-time employee when for somebody who's not in the US.
Yeah,
So trying to figuring that out is a little bit tricky. But I I feel like the biggest thing that's holding me back is the editing.
yeah,
And the videos are, I would say, a little bit boring to watch because there could definitely be more B-roll, more shots in there, cooler edits,
mhm.
which again, I hate editing. So I am like the biggest thing holding my YouTube channel back, honestly. Once I can get the editing thing down, and I think it'll be actually really good, but that's the biggest thing. The other thing that was holding me back for a while, actually, too, was inconsistency in my living situation
Yeah,
because I was moving back and forth constantly. So it was really frustrating. I was in my home in SF, and then I would come down to LA and stay in Dignitas's gaming house, and the backgrounds constantly kept changing. I couldn't keep the lighting consistent all the
yeah,
time, and the room, like my room at home, is really messy. But it was my childhood home. There really isn't anything I can do about it.
yeah.
There's no place I can move my desk to where I don't get all that clutter in the background. So I'm finally in my own apartment. So I can get a more professional looking setup. That
Nice.
would probably give me a more air of authority because it's like, oh, like, her shit looks more professional. But
Yeah. So when it comes to your sponsorship, then I just wanted to
Mhm.
go back on that and ask, how is that? Where does that all come from? Like, is it TikTok mainly, like, or stream sponsorship? What's the breakdown of where that sponsorship is coming from?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. I should go and because I track all my data, all this like stuff in Google Sheets. I should go and like break that down. But majority is TikTok because it's my biggest platform.
Yeah.
A good chunk of my sponsorships, the reason why I started making a lot more is doing event partnerships.
Okay.
That's where a lot of the big money was at. Either physically attending events, well,
Yeah.
actually, they all involved event attendance, but a lot of it was like a TikTok video at an event.
Yeah.
That jacked up the price a lot. Long term, I started doing a lot more long term partnerships, which made it cost more. And then exclusivity and like more things that they were negotiating,
Hmm.
charging a lot more for that. So that's like those are like some three big ones. But majority of my income does come from TikTok sponsorships or TikTok videos because I charge like at least 1,500 per video,
Yeah.
like baseline or more. Surprisingly, I do get a good amount of Instagram Reel sponsorships.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the second largest chunk, and then Twitch and then YouTube at the bottom.
So do you manage all of the relationships directly yourself with the brands?
Kind of. So I got signed to a talent agency maybe
Yeah.
2 months ago.
Okay.
So now they help me manage some stuff, but I still manage some of my own. So it's like a 50-50.
50/50. What?
Mhm.
Why did you join the talent agency?
To help them for them to help me manage it because
Yeah.
managing sponsorships ended up becoming almost like a full-time job for
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
alone.
I've heard
And
it's.
I already have a full-time job. So it was really tiring and really time consuming. And it was just like, dude, I just need to pawn this off. This labor that I'm doing is not effective, honestly, and it could just easily be pawned off to somebody else that is like good at doing this job.
Yeah.
And, if I take a pay cut, it's totally fine. Like I know that I could do it on my own, but it's not worth my time.
And how do you get these sponsorships? I'm sure you probably say in the guide, right? But let's
Mhm.
like when you were growing your TikTok, when you weren't
Mhm.
really, you didn't have that many sponsorships. Like, was there a period of time where are you outreaching or
Yes.
you are like
Yeah.
how are you doing that?
So a lot of times, like I made a business email and I plastered it everywhere, like
Yeah.
in my bios, everywhere. So the big thing that I get a lot of emails from people interested in sponsoring me, even when I was like smaller, maybe like 100,000 or bigger.
Yeah.
But plastering my email everywhere, making sure my location is known. You don't have to give like your city, but
Hmm.
make sure I'm in the U.S. I was in the Bay Area, so I put that down. So no people location and business email everywhere. So I got a lot of opportunities through that. Another one is outreaching. So I outreached a lot to companies. I would just like cold email them with my cold email templates. And I got ghosted a lot, but that's completely normal when you're
Mm.
outreaching. So, I got a bunch of deals from that. Some people like hit me up like 6 months later being like, yeah, we have this campaign. And I'm like, cool. But I got ghosted in the time being. So that's one. Another one is like I flirt with social media pages on TikTok. And
Yeah.
I was doing this even before I was verified.
Yeah.
I would like, under HyperX be like, oh, like something, I like your headset, da da da. And like, I always just say, if you are cheeky, if
Okay.
you are active and your comment is noticeable, and you become a familiar face, there's like campaign these companies will interact with you and things like that. Another one also is networking with partnership managers. So I'd follow a bunch of partnership managers on Twitter and just like,
Okay.
actively network with them because they're the people that are recruiting creators for campaigns. So you want them to notice you, not like, their finance team. That doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So networking with those types of people, the people that would matter in a regard to a sponsorship. And then like influencer platforms. I've had some success on those.
Nice. Yeah, I've never heard
Mhm.
anyone, I'd say about networking with partnership managers, but yeah, I guess that makes the sense. They're the
Mhm.
ones that make somewhat of the decision when deciding who to work with in terms of influencers.
Exactly.
If you're
Like I've had a
front of
lot of
mind.
opportunities just because I was a feature creator at VidCon simply because the partnership manager just was a streamer who watched my content.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. That's actually great. Um, what my chain of thought was gone. I
No,
was
it's all good. It's probably really late for you.
my question was right there. I was going to ask like what to giving the finance. You've just told me what the finances are. Why do you work full time? Well, like why? I think I watched a video a while ago of like where you went back full time, and I can't remember the reasons why you said. So I'm curious, is like why you went back full time, and would you ever quit your that stable income job?
There's a couple of reasons. The first one is, it's nice having health insurance
Okay.
and vision and dental. If you paid for that out of pocket, you would be shafted as a content creator
Okay.
because that's brutal. But another one is honestly the financial stability.
Yeah.
Kind of like I make decent money as a content creator, but it fluctuates greatly. And I don't like knowing that I could pay rent one month and I could not pay rent the next month because I would not make enough. I have a salaried job,
Yeah.
so I can guarantee that with my salaried income, I make more than my rent per month. So
Yeah.
I can keep my lights. I can make my cost of living per month
Yeah.
from my full time job. So that's really fun. But a big one too is I've always wanted to work in the esports industry.
Yeah.
I was really active in esports stuff on campus when I was at Berkeley. I played for a league team for 3 years. Well, like the lower tier. I'm not good. But like our low tier league team, I was like the coordinator, and I've also played on it. I was the coordinator for the like our D1 team. I had like other leadership positions in esports clubs. Like I really, really wanted to get into the esports scene. I also wanted to work at Riot. I applied and got rejected.
Yeah.
But so I've always wanted to work in esports. So I saw this opportunity to work with Dignitas and esports org for social media, which is something that I already do and I'm already really familiar with and I like. So I was like, perfect. I've always wanted to get into esports, so I could actually live my esports dream. Because I feel like down the line, 50 years down the line, if I didn't work in esports, I would kind of regret it because I would be like, like what if I worked in esports? How would it be? I really just want to know. And so I'm kind of like living that dream out.
What do you do? What do you do? Like more specifically, what do you do for them? Like, what's your day to day?
To be honest, I make their TikTok videos. I
You
make
just
their
made it.
TikTok
Okay,
videos,
simple
their
as that.
Instagram posts, their tweets. I make the content that goes out on their social media channels.
Yeah. Okay. No. Oh, sweet. Just short form stuff, or like.
Yeah, I do
you
not
hate
do their
editing,
YouTube
but
videos.
you hate editing. So.
Yes. TikTok editing I'm fine with. I just those 10-minute YouTube videos, I cannot. I just can't. Like a podcast like this, I would love to do podcasts. I cannot sit through a 1 hour footage and try to splice everything together from different people's POVs. I just cannot. I do not have the patience for that.
What for a podcaster?
I can't. I've wanted to do a podcast for a very long time, and I tried the editing. I cannot do it. I cannot.
What sort of podcast? Like one like this, or slightly different?
I wanted to do basically like a streaming content creation advice podcast for every single week. It just be a different topic. Today we're gonna talk about sponsorships. Today we're gonna talk about this, where it's advice, but also like I can just freely bitch about things that I don't like about the industry, and then occasionally to bring people on and be like, hey, you're a creator. Like, what are your thoughts about this? Bring somebody else on. Like, what's your thoughts about this to get some insights? But it's the editing that I just absolutely do not want to deal with. But it's in the back of my mind for the future. Step one is to fix my YouTube channel and to make that pop off, and then we will have time and money for editing for a podcast.
Yeah, I don't think it's too. I think the editing. So yeah, it's kind of similar along the lines of my thoughts in the podcast. In that, like, the editing is a bit of a pain because it's long, but at the same time, I don't have to really like script or make anything like perfect because it's conversational, and I prefer conversational rather than like robotic scripting YouTube videos that like every sentence has to be this perfect story, like line where like otherwise people are just going to click off it.
Maybe that's because my channel flops. I don't script my videos.
Yeah, me neither. When I started creating YouTube videos a while ago, and I want to do some other ones as well, like I want to do other non-podcast ones where I do advice ones and tech stuff that like a little similar to like what Harris Heller does, or Gaming Careers, or Stream Scheme, like the other guys where they just talk about different things. But they script the shit out of their videos, and I just
I don't like that.
I just can't be fucked. Like
I try to market myself as like the budget, low quality advice person, so that you kind of like, please don't come into my videos with expectations of high quality and scripts. It's not happening.
Oh, you just I'm much more impressed if you just one take it. Like you know what? Like I'll watch if I watch one of your videos or watch someone else's, like it's ever since I started recording and editing, I pay attention to how much they clip, and then like sometimes I'm like watch a person and I'm like they've not even clipped any of that, like, and I'm like, but that was sick. They've literally just nailed that like straight off the bat. And that's where that's how I stand. I'm like, I did that in one take. I'm proud, even though the retention rate's going to be shit because I'm like going, like every like, I don't want to take that out. Like, I think,
It's like it's more natural, you know. I like
uh,
those videos because it's kind of like I throw them on the side when I'm doing work, and it's like you have a
yeah,
friend just kind of like chatting with you, even though you're just like vibing and like doing your work on the other monitor.
yeah. Well, there is lots of big trends at the moment coming like around that is more like people preferring raw content. Like I know it did boom a little bit a few years ago, but I think it's growing even more now. Like where YouTube videos are becoming too polished, and I think
Yeah.
there is a group of people that are like wanting away from that now. Like because the creative barrier is so high on YouTube, you feel like you have to have a super high polished, like not Mr. Beast, but you know, like set. It's like how do you compete with that? Like
Yeah,
these,
I mean, like even Harris Heller, like I love his videos, but I
mm,
cannot achieve that level of quality. It's
yeah. I
not gonna
think
happen.
I think he attempted to do that with his last video where he just sat in a car and did the video.
Mm.
He just talked about, I can't remember what he talked about, but he just sat in his car and filmed the video. Like, and I think it was an attempt at a trend of being more raw in the videos rather than being super clean, polished YouTube videos.
Mhm.
But then I'm sure you're like me where I look at those and I'm like, oh, like I could do that, but that'll take me a whole fucking week. And like, I don't have a whole week. Like, how do you, where's your time going? Because you saying you work, stream, and do all this fucking content, like, and going to the gym and having a life, like how are you finding balance in your life? I always try and ask this question, or like I'm always like wondering, like, do you feel your life is balanced? Like, are you happy? Are there areas where you want to change, or things that you think you could do better at? Like, in
There's no balance. And that's the bad part. But I mean the big thing is it gets really messy, right? Because I have my full-time job, so I wake
yeah,
up and I go to work. And then, well, you know, remote job, so it's like hybrid remote. So a lot of times I'm just working on my computer at home,
nice, yeah,
but like today. But the problem that gets into is I my second job is content creating for myself.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's something that I love and it's my passion, but it also became my work.
mm,
So I basically work like 12 hours a day. I go to my full-time
yeah,
job,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
work there, and then I come back home and then I do my content creation. So it's like 12, 14 hours a day basically. But it gets really messy because I love content creating. I love doing what I do. So I go to sleep thinking about ideas. I wake up
yeah,
thinking about
yeah,
content creation, you know? So that's the problem when your passion also becomes your work because your work life balance becomes really muddy. Because if I wasn't a full-time content creator, like I don't know how this would make sense, but if I was not, I guess, full-time content creating, didn't have these platforms, whatever, I would still after work want to go and make content. It's just something that I really enjoy and something that I'm really passionate about. If I was getting no money from it, I would still want to go and make content. But because it became my work life balance now gets really tricky because all I literally do is work. And
yeah,
it was honestly like shell shocking for me in a way because I moved in with my housemate who also works in my company. And she works in a different department,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like, you know, after she's done with work, she's just chilling.
She's
She goes
chilling,
and hangs out with
yeah,
friends, you
the
know,
life,
does and stuff. And I was like, people can do this.
yeah,
Like people actually just go out and have time to see friends on a daily basis. That just blew my mind because for like literally a year and a half I was just working in my own home, in my own room, 22 hours a day in my room. So I did not see how other people lived or interacted just at all. So it just absolutely blew my mind. And then like my boyfriend is a pro league player. So he just goes into the office, plays league until like 11 p.m. at night. So literally from 10 to 11, just league. So what I saw and what I was familiar with was somebody else that literally does their job the entire fucking day into from morning into night. So it was just like mind blowing to me. So I love what I do. Like I actually wouldn't change it at all. I actually really like the way this like my life is set up like this. One thing that I do kind of wish though, in a way, is just to like partially. Just disappear for a month. Just do nothing every single day for a month.
Do you
That
think
just
you could do
sounds
that though?
amazing. I don't think so because I'm a workaholic. So I actually probably would hate that like a weekend. But because I just love doing work and I love being productive. I've always been like that ever since a kid. Like I was a kid. I would get bored at home because there'd be nothing to do. And I would just clean the entire house top to bottom because I was just bored and I wanted to do something. So I've always been like that. But part of me is kind of like, what if I just disappear for like 2 weeks, just off the grid? All I do is wake up and play League for 12 hours a day and just turn my brain into mush for 2 months, 2 weeks. That's kind of like maybe. What if?
I don't think you'd be able to do that. I think you'd probably get stressed out.
Yeah, I would immediately go back to work.
What do you do on the weekend then? Like if so, like in the
I work.
week, in the like on content.
So on the weekends is where I batch film all of my personal
Yeah.
content because I
Okay.
have a full-time job. So I do my full-time job like Monday through Friday. So full-time job is about 8 hours a day. And then I come home and do my content. So I stream 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like 4 hours of streaming and then I
Yeah.
make content after. So on the days that I stream, I'm probably working like 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then but like so I don't get to spend as much time as I want on my personal content. So over
Yeah.
the weekend it's all personal content.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'll
That makes
kind of
sense.
like I'll wake up, I'll sleep in, I'll wake up, and then I will just batch film a bunch of YouTube videos. I If I have videos to edit, I will edit those videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Typically sponsorship things will take a lot more time to edit the video, film the video because there's a lot more like nuance to it. So
Mhm.
I will do the sponsorship content over the weekend and get all of that stuff done. But yeah, it's literally all work.
So on Saturday and Sunday, when are you done? When what happens for you to in your head say to yourself, I'm done, I don't need to do any more today?
It's if I got like the tasks that I wanted to get done
Yeah. Okay.
finished. So I'm kind of like, it's kind of like, oh, what's the most pressing issue that I have? Oh, this like sponsorship video. Okay. So I need to film the video, edit the video, like send it to them. Whenever I finish that, I'm like, okay, well, now I'm running out of YouTube videos. I need some YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I need to go edit. So I'll just literally work till I feel satisfied.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it kind of varies. So it's kind of like, oh shit, I only have one, I upload every other day. So it's like I have one video left that's going out tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I will film and then edit and then upload 4 videos. And then I'm like, all right, I feel satisfied. I'm done.
Yeah.
But sometimes if I have like already enough bashed up content, then I'm like, all right, like I'm done after like one video. I'll go play a game of Valorant.
Yeah. Well, because you always got a never-ending list, haven't you? Right? Like so.
It never ends.
It never
It
ends.
never
So, like,
ends.
how
There's
do you-
always more stuff you could do.
There
There's
is.
always more
There's
stuff.
always fucking so much more you can do. So
Mhm.
it's like when I always know when do you? Yeah, it's when you feel satisfied that you've done enough. I guess it's just like me. Like I never know when that is. Some days it's 8 hours of work on a Saturday, and some days it might just be 5 hours of work. But it's almost.
Mhm.
But I don't know when that satisfaction is gonna. I don't know. It's when you like your motivation levels are just like starting to like
Mhm.
drop, and then you get that one last thing done that you're like, yeah, do you know what? Yeah, that like
Yeah,
I
and
got
it's
that
like,
done. Like,
I think I'm good for today. I just try to like listen to my gut. So if my gut's kind of telling me, hey, yo, stop working, I'm like,
yeah,
okay, I think it's good. But then sometimes my gut's like, hey, you're gonna have a busy week this week, so you need to get more YouTube videos and TikToks up. Otherwise, you're not gonna have time during the week to do it. So I'm like, okay, let me do that. But I always try to work when I feel motivated.
yeah,
So it's kind of like a hacking your brain in a way where it's like if you feel motivated, just do the work. And if you're not
yeah,
feeling motivated, don't force it because it's not gonna
yeah,
happen.
yeah. That's true. It's very difficult sometimes.
Hmm.
Sometimes I do find that like you can force it a little bit, or like make it seem like it's a
Yeah.
bit, not create such a huge barrier to doing something. Like
Hmm.
sometimes I'll look at a task and look how look at it, it'll just how daunting
Yeah.
it is, and it will put me off it. But then I actually just like, why don't I just do this other little thing here that I know is not as hard, and then I can transition into that harder thing, because then I'm then like in that mood, whereas like I wasn't before. I
Yeah, it
kind
kind of
of
makes it feel a little bit more productive. It's like, oh, I did
yeah
this first thing. Okay, maybe this like second thing isn't as
yeah
bad.
yeah.
Hmm.
I use the same tactic when I go to the gym. When I can't be asked to go to the gym, I won't
Hmm.
look at the gym as being a really hard workout. I'll just go, right, I'm going to go to the gym and sit on the bike. So I think it was super easy. That's like,
Hmm.
and then I'll sit on it for 10 minutes, and then I'll decide or not, okay, I'm just going to sit on here, do half an hour. Okay, all good, right? I've done half an hour of something super easy, but I turned up. Or quite often, like 60, 70% of the time, I'll then do 10 minutes and then I'm like, do you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go just fucking go at it. I'm like,
Mhm.
it's all because I just didn't have that mentality of like, I'm going into something super hard, which would have just put me off completely at all.
No,
Thinking,
that literally was me today because I was like, I need to go to the gym. But I was like, I'm not feeling it. So I was like, okay, we'll
yeah,
just do back because back is like
yeah,
pretty fun. You just sit on your ass and just kind of like, do some shit. So I'm
yeah.
like, because I was gonna do legs and I was like, I just cannot. I was like, let's just go and like sit on this box and just, do some pulls and whatever.
Sweet.
And like, and then got my boba order like 40 minutes later. I was like, okay, I'm done.
I've got a few more questions. Like,
Mhm.
I just want to go back to the YouTube stuff and interesting. Like, why are you posting um every other day at the moment? Do you feel like, to me, it seems like your approach is a more of a quantity volume approach because you're
Mhm.
not putting the editing into it at the moment. And just wondering if you've had any thoughts on reducing the amount of volume and going for higher quality, like editing, or like why are you doing what you're doing at the moment in terms of posting on YouTube?
I mean, like a big one is because the like you said, the if I kick at the quality, I can get the quantity because
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
actually do have the content
yeah, yeah.
already.
You have,
It's all
yeah.
from my Twitch streams already. It's
Mm,
literally there. And so it's like my editing quality, like I cannot be bothered. I really can't. Like you could pull out all my teeth and I still don't fucking want to edit the video
yeah,
to the
yeah.
quality that it should be at.
Hmm.
I just don't like it. So I'm like, I have this content anyways. They're all from my Twitch streams. And the thing is, I enjoy making content, not
Yeah, yeah,
necessarily editing the video, but I
yeah, yeah.
enjoy filming the videos. So I actually do create I have a lot of videos just already pre-filmed, ready to go. Twitch VODs clipped out, all of this content just sitting there. So I was like, well, I might as well just make them all YouTube videos. Yeah, I might as well because I already have the content. That's kind of like my attitude.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I definitely could employ a better strategy to YouTube, like less videos, higher quality. But that's kind of like a future thing when I get my editor on board, stuff like that. But a lot of times too is it's not necessarily also I would love for my YouTube channel to blow up, to be able to make a full-time living off of YouTube. That would be great.
So
That's
true.
kind of like the goal that I'm aiming for. But at the end of the day, the purpose of my YouTube channel is because a lot of people keep asking me the same questions. I'm really down to answer it on stream, but also I can make their lives easier where instead of waiting for me to spend like a long time, talking to
Yeah,
chat and then answer your question. There's just a 8-minute video that visually walks you through everything already. So I actually started my YouTube channel with no intention of growing it,
yeah,
with the
yeah.
intention of just people who kept asking me the same questions. I could just give them one
Here's the
spot,
video. Yeah,
one
yeah.
video. Here's the video that would answer your question. Here's this video that would answer your question. So that's how it was built off of. I had no intention of like growing my YouTube channel. And then I was like, well, I might as well, because I keep posting these videos people keep asking for. I might as well just try to grow this channel and like see how much I can make off of it too, to like pad my income and stuff like that. But it was literally just for a place for people to answer questions. The people keep having questions, so I have more videos to go
Yeah,
make.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. That's kind of the
Mm,
same approach that I've been looking at my channel really with education, is that like not be too kind of fussed on numbers, but more just have it as like a portfolio of education rather than like portfolio of just super high quality videos. Just a portfolio of
exactly.
education that I know this is valuable in here. Like, you're gonna have to watch a 5 minute video that's not the most polished YouTube in the world, but it will tell you what you need to hear.
Mm,
Like, and that's the way that I look at it. And that's kind of that's why I think I connected with your videos, is because they're not like super polished, and but the message is really fucking good. And it's just
mm.
annoying that on YouTube, because you're sometimes compete, well, it's all a retention game, isn't it? And you're competing with people that have got super polished videos, but actually their message maybe it's not as good, and the actual content is not that good. It's just delivered in a better way. Like,
I actually have actually curious about your thoughts on this because I feel like we really agree on this.
yeah,
A lot of the very high polished videos, I actually don't watch them. I prefer the low budget commentary style of it because my feeling with the high polished videos, it feels very surface level. It feels
yeah,
like when they're answering a question, they answer in a very it's delivered beautifully, but it's a very surface level answer. I prefer the like scuffed, like my analogy is like when you're in college and you're like in those like that math class, you don't know what, and there's that one like grainy video of the Indian guy who's like, he's got this whiteboard and he's just drawing on it and explains it so well, but the quality is very scuffed. I like that type of video way better than like the very high polished video where I'm like, I don't understand how he got to this answer still. Like I prefer the scuff videos. I feel like they go more in depth. I understand it better. Maybe that's just my brain, but I like the scuff videos more.
Nah, I do as well. I like the raw
Hmm.
ones as well. Like as long as if I've watched one video from someone, like it only takes one video. It takes one video for me to trust this guy or girl knows what they're talking about. Like I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, this person's sick. Like they know what they're talking about. And then I'm like, I watch any of their videos, like not because I give a fuck how well it's edited or them just throwing graphics in my face and animations. No, because I just want to hear
Hmm.
them speak and hear their knowledge. I don't care how well edited their video is or how
Hmm.
much it draws me in. I'm listening to them because I know that they know their shit, right? And I think that that's something that's missing. Like you said, sometimes with top level YouTubers, their content is a bit surface level because it's all about just keeping, I guess, the average person entertained or retained or informed or whatever. And actually, like sometimes it just doesn't go deep enough because it's too busy or
Yeah,
like. If it's as soon as it starts going deep, it's people are just going to switch off because it's
exactly.
too deep, and it's not
Hmm.
like in your face and like pop 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 so much going on here. So
And it breaks my heart too because I edited some videos in that style, like a more surface level answer, and those ones do better. And I'm like, but I didn't like this video as much.
what you YouTube ones or TikTok ones?
Hmm.
YouTube what
It
YouTube
sucks.
YouTube what like just basic surface level stuff.
Hmm. That's what I like TikTok because they actually some of the more in depth type stuff actually does better on TikTok.
Okay, does it?
Hmm. Like a lot of my kind of like rambly videos where I go really in depth on one topic, they actually do really well because everyone's like, maybe it's because I condense it all into like maybe 40 seconds. So it's not like a 10-minute video going really in depth where you can lose people. But I get a lot of positive comments, people being like, oh, I never knew this, like I never thought of it this way, etc., etc. So that's what I prefer TikTok.
Has has all of your growth from Twitch come from TikTok then? Yeah.
Yes, I would attribute like 70% to TikTok, maybe like 10-20% to networking.
Yeah.
And
So
then like the other bit from like Instagram Reels and YouTube.
so in 2022, what would what would you how would you say is the best way to grow on Twitch and
TikTok.
TikTok? Like,
TikTok still.
are you saying that how would a new streamer spend their time then? Like what would you advise someone like how many times a week to stream? What how many TikToks should they create? How should they try and become viral on TikTok and how then should they also do networking and stuff like what I was curious of like because it's a super complicated ecosystem of you doing fuckloads of things. So like if you could like sum up like what you think is there isn't a perfect balance of everything, but
Mhm.
what should people strive for in terms of allocation of time for doing certain things?
I would basically say that, and like this is the way I break it down. However much time you have in the week to content create, you should not be streaming more than like 25% of that time.
Okay.
And the purpose of your streams is to farm content for other social media. We can fix your streams later. I guess step one is make your streams watchable. Basically, whenever people stumble into your streams, it should be good enough to where they wouldn't leave. So, like don't just like if you have a super ass mic, might need to fix that. If you're not talking to chat, might need to fix that. Also, I don't know how you'd farm content without talking in your stream, but stream to farm content. The biggest thing is post like at least once a day on TikTok. So look, what are you streaming? What do you want to be? What do you want to be a content creator for? Like, what do you want to be known for? What content do you want to create? Do you want to be a Valorant streamer? Do you want to be a comfy game streamer? Do you want to be like a super loud, like jump scare type horror game streamer? Whatever you want to be, totally fine. Go on TikTok, find a whole bunch of creators that are in that niche, in that category. What videos are they making? What videos are they creating? Look at their videos. Which of their videos blew up? Okay, now recreate their videos. Obviously, give them credit. But use their what worked for them. They're in the category that you want to get into. It'll probably work for you. So recreate those videos. Spend like the out of your time in the week content creating, like 70% or like 60% of that time, TikTok. Make TikTok videos, edit TikTok videos, schedule those TikTok drafts, And I would say just kind of park them in your drafts. Don't post anything until you get like 15 videos in your drafts. Because then you can post once a day and you
Okay.
will still have those videos in your drafts. You don't want to lose that like once a day posting cadence. Now, 2 weeks later, you posted once a day for 2 weeks. Look at your own content. Which videos, what are your top 3 videos and what are your worst 3 videos and why? Um, Notice any similarities or differences? Like, are your top 3 videos all less than like 15 seconds long? Are your worst 3 videos all like 50 seconds long? Is the like, what do you do? Do you have an intro sticker? Do you have like what style of video is it? Was it like a funny video? Was it a Twitch clip? Was it a POV video? Analyze why you think the 3 videos did the best, why you think the 3 videos did the worst. Stop doing whatever you think didn't work. And whatever 3 videos did the best, recreate those videos and make more of it. So we're just gonna double down on TikTok and just literally just keep that cycle up every single week. Just look back at your content. What did well? What didn't do well? Toss out what didn't do well. Keep doing what did well. And data never lies. So you keep the ball rolling from there. So once you hit 1,000 followers on TikTok, then go live on TikTok as you're streaming on Twitch. And then that's going to convert more people over. TikTok also really likes lives. They will push you out. They will push out your videos. You'll get more video views by going live on TikTok. So it gets the ball rolling even more. And yeah, just keep rinsing and repeating. Once you're satisfied with TikTok, time to move on to a new platform. What about Instagram Reels? Start reposting those TikToks onto IG Reels.
Do you TikTok live? Do you only stream on TikTok live when you're on Twitch, or do you ever do TikTok live only streams?
I stream on TikTok live when I'm on Twitch. I have done like 2 streams separate of TikTok live. I actually do want to explore that more, streaming when I'm not on Twitch. So I do plan on exploring that. So we'll have to get back to you on how that does.
Because I'm just curious on whether you answer and read the TikTok chat.
No,
You don't.
I
Yeah.
don't. TikTok chat is to go let my followers on TikTok know that I am live on Twitch. A lot of people come over to my Twitch and they want answers, and I always answer on Twitch chat.
I
So
guess
they just
I
come
guess
over.
you're in a more of a unique situation because your content and followers should not all be streamers, but are probably people who know what Twitch is,
Mhm.
and therefore are more likely to probably come over because they've got questions, I guess,
Mhm.
rather than a TikToker a Twitch streamer who plays a game and just post gaming content, right? Because lots of
I
people.
think it still works for them though, because if you
Yeah.
go live on TikTok, it lets your TikTok followers know that you are live on Twitch.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people wouldn't even know you're live. Like
Yeah.
for me at least, a lot of times there's been somebody that followed for a while. I don't know, but I've been following them for a while, and then I see that they're live on my notification. I'm like, oh my god, you stream on Twitch. I didn't even know they were a streamer, and then I
Yeah.
came over.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say TikTok Live was really good. I know it's really good. I used to do it. It's just I always find that sometimes you get you can get like really massive TikTok Live numbers, and then for me, some days I would have like 4 or 5, and then other days I would have like 100, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? How is this happening?
In some of the TikTok lives that I've done, like off of stream or even in stream, I've had times where I've had like 100 viewers in it.
Yeah.
But at least for me personally, I haven't found too much conversion over into my Twitch or like, sorry, my TikTok views
Okay.
or like
What
TikTok followers. But maybe
TikTok
that's just me.
followers? What? Sorry. What do you mean by that? Can you say again?
Yeah, so when I get good engagement on my TikTok live,
Yeah.
they don't really transfer over into my videos getting more views or me
Okay.
getting more TikTok followers,
Oh,
which
okay.
sometimes it happens. Like the esports org that I work for, we go live on TikTok and blows up our page every single time.
Yeah.
Hasn't really happened for me, but maybe it's like a different format because I am not streaming a game. I am just streaming my face.
No, I used to get that. No, I used to just confuse the fuck out of me. Sometimes
Yeah.
I would go live and it would just pick a video and just send it like
Mhm.
within like 2 weeks, and then the next day I'd go live again. That video won't move, and then till I go live, and then it shoots again, and then like other times I'll go live and it does nothing. Like I never understood, like it was just boosting. It was happening for a couple of months where like anytime I went live, it would boost one of my videos, and then
Yeah,
all
same.
of a sudden it stopped happening, and then it would just like randomly like happen like once a month, and I'm like, it's just
Yeah, I don't understand it. It was for a while. Like I would go live on TikTok after every stream, 2,000 extra followers on TikTok.
yeah.
And then Now nothing, but I
Yeah, I
don't
don't know
know.
whether live has just become very saturated now
Mhm.
because of them letting people with less followers be able to live stream as well. And yeah, there's so many people. I don't know. There's lots of people live streaming on TikTok now just because it's so easy, isn't it? Like you just need
Mhm.
just need a phone, which everyone apparently has. Like just kids as well. So I don't think I've got any more questions actually. I think that was it. I think that was sick. That was sick. I really enjoyed that. There's
Mhm.
lots of
Yeah,
good
no, it
stuff
was
to
really
talk
fun.
about there. Um, do you have anything else that you want
Uh,
to anything else you want to share? Anything in mind?
I
Any
don't have
questions you want to
any.
ask me?
Honestly, I feel like it was all answered. My
Don't
brain's
have
kind of
to.
like blank now.
Yeah, all good.
Mhm.
Just before we finish, like, what days and times do you
Yeah, I
stream?
stream on
Just
Twitch
so people
3 days
know.
a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. PST. I do this thing every single Saturday where I review other people's streams with channel points. It's 750. So
Okay.
that's the thing.
What's
Oh
that?
yeah,
What's that?
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that earlier. Let's go into that quick.
So
What is
every
what
single
do you do? Sorry.
Saturday,
Yeah,
if
just
you
explain it.
redeem the channel point redeem, I go on first come first serve, and I only take 5 people because I keep losing my
Yeah,
voice.
yeah.
So that's the big problem. But I will just review your stream on my stream. So I'll pull you up, I'll look through your panels, your about me, the artwork, and then I'll look through one of your VODs, your most recent, and give you advice on how you can improve. And I like it's with channel points. So it's literally all for free. I make it 750 because it's like a little you have to like follow me and then like watch one stream. So then,
Gotta
I
watch a
think
little
it's
bit.
pretty fair. But yeah, so I've been doing that for like a year and a half now.
Yeah, that's really good. I think I see a lot of people on Reddit ask for small streamer advice
Mhm.
and advice on their channel and stuff, and usually they've got like 10 followers, so there's usually lots of stuff that is relatively
Mhm.
easy advice to give to for stuff to do like panels or social. Lots of people just they don't even have the
Yeah, that's a
socials. They
big one.
have
I'm
like
like,
regular socials.
don't just link a link
Like
tree. Just please link your socials individually. Mhm.
oh yeah, yeah. It looks so much nicer and better when you can link them
Mhm.
individually and put them in as panels anyway. Cool, nice. Well, thanks so much for being
Thank you for
part of the
having me.
conversation. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your time because I understand you're super busy. Um, and yeah, it's been a great conversation. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of the week. And I'm
Yeah,
sure we'll
thank
catch
you,
up soon.
thank you.
Good luck with the YouTube. Good luck with the YouTube.
Hopefully,
I'm
I
rooting
wanted.
for the
Okay, I was
YouTube. I'm
ambitious. I
rooting
wanted
for
to
the
get like
YouTube.
25K by the end of this year, but I don't think that's happening. So we're gonna aim for
You
13K.
still got it. You still got it.